What's up, everybody? Welcome back. 15 minutes on a topic or a segment, and we were talking about Danhausen. So, if you're new here, welcome. This is a live segment where I set a timer on my computer for 15 minutes, and then I just talk about the topic for that amount of time, and we go from there. So, I'm going to set the timer, and here we go. All right, timer has begun. Now, I will just get straight into it. So it must have been about a week ago when I'm just on my computer, and then I think I was on Twitter, and it flashes across the screen Danhausen and WWE, and I click on it. I have no idea what to expect. I do not follow WWE, so I pretty much have no idea like what's going on. And I see the reveal of Danhausen at Elimination Chamber. Now, before I get into my thoughts on that, I'm going to go over my thoughts of him debuting at the pay-per-view, and then I'll get into additional thoughts on his appearance on Raw, and he was just on Smackdown about an hour ago. But before I get into all that, I'm just going to go back in time I'm going to take you back in time to 2019 when I first discovered Danhausen. So I'm going to set the scene for you. So leading up to this moment in time, I had been working at a job where I was working between 50 and 60 hours a week. And I just have a bottle of water here. Just allow me a moment to have some water. I'm drinking Grape Propel, if you're curious. So I'm working 50 to 60 hours a week, and then after a while, I had done it for like 3 years almost, and I'd had enough. And so basically, I said, you know what? I have enough saved up. I gotta stop. I gotta get out of here. So I quit the job with no backup. I had like $5,000 saved, which if I had been reckless, you can burn through that type of money, but I was like extremely conservative. So, and I'm coming off of the taxing job, and I find myself basically going through a routine every day where I wake up at a certain time, and then I turn on the TV to watch certain shows, and one of those shows happened to be Ring of Honor, believe it or not. So, and I want to go back in time because my first time experiencing Danhausen, this is how it went. I turn on the TV, I start watching Ring of Honor. I have wrestling knowledge that goes back to Monday Night Wars, WCW, Nitro versus Raw. Even before that, before WCW was even on TV, I think WWF. I probably watched like the original debut of X-Pac or 1-2-3 Kid, when it aired on broadcast cable or whatever. I forgot exactly. I think from my memory, WWF used to be on weekend morning shows, like Saturday morning or Sunday morning or something like that. I'm just checking my stream here. But anyway, I'm watching Ring of Honor, and then after Ring of Honor, there'd be like bootleg UFC division fights. I don't know the exact promotion, but I think the channel's called Legends, maybe. So I started watching Ring of Honor every day, and then one day, just Danhausen's on TV, and I'm watching, and I'm going, what is this? Like, this is just, I don't understand what this is. Which actually falls in line with his debut on Monday Night Raw, or not Raw, on Elimination Chamber. Because when you first encounter Danhausen, you're like, this is stupid. And then, like, as soon as he starts going into his gimmick, you're like, oh, wait, this is, like, cool. It's a strange, the whole gimmick is hard to pin down. But the more you watch Danhausen, the more you like him. And I was scrolling on a video the other day, in one of his matches in Ring of Honor. I'm trying to see if I can find it exactly. I'm on my computer. Ring of Honor. I forgot who he was wrestling. It was actually a good match, but just typing this in with one hand. I'm scrolling down the comments and I see my own YouTube handle 5 years ago. Danhausen rules. That was what I wrote. And yeah, so when I saw him pop up on WWE, I was just like, whoa, I can't believe he actually made it to WWE. And I'm watching it and I'm like, this is like so surreal. I can't believe that Danhausen is on the top promotion because he's such a... First of all, he's a phenomenon, in my opinion. And I believe he has potential to go... Like, the sky is the limit because he's just so out there and so hard to define. And if you start trying to, like, unravel or unpack, like, how his gimmick is constructed, like, you see certain things. Like, he throws a bunch of different, parts of the gimmick out. Like, very nice, very evil. Love that Danhausen. Adding the house into stuff. The teeth in the jar, the tequila song and walk and kick the guy in the face on the ring, which I don't know if he does it anymore. He's got even more than that. There's something else that he does that's ridiculous. But you start to get an idea of what he does. And I had a blog post from... I'm going to open my own blog. Let me see. The blog post was called... If I can scroll down to the tags. Wrestling. Here we go. Top 5 ROH wrestlers. Written in February 8th, 2020. So over 6 years ago now. And I wrote this myself. And you can find it on my blog. Number 1, PJ Black. Number 2, Shane Taylor. Number 3, Danhausen. This is what I wrote. Danhausen is like an odd combination of Sting and Ed Grimley. He combines pop culture kitsch with a unique sense of bizarre macabre that is scintillating to watch. When I saw him jam a vial of teeth into the mouth of his opponent, I was stunned by the genius of it all. I mean, that's kind of what it is, in my opinion. He's like cheesy and absurdist, and I've been watching different commentaries. Someone out there used the term absurdist, and that kind of is a good one. But it's a fool's game to try and define exactly the character, because once you start watching it, you see what he is. But all right, so I see him on Elimination Chamber, and I see the reaction, which, by the way, fits into the character, because he's excited about himself, and then it falls flat, which is kind of hilarious. Then in my head I go, first of all, I want to comment also on the fact that the WWE rollout of Danhausen was, it quite honestly almost brought tears to my eyes. I was so happy for Danhausen, 1. 2, they rolled out the red carpet in such a way where it was such a tribute to pretty much how much of he's like a self-made guy. And I don't want to go too much in the backstory because I've already talked about watching Ring of Honor, but I did go to a live Ring of Honor show. I drove all the way across the country to Nashville. I forgot what the name of the event was. I don't remember if Danhausen was even there. But then, I would watch Danhausen matches like true indie, where he's just wrestling a guy in a Macy's parking lot on a shitty flip cam being filmed. And he's all the way at the top. And the tribute that they paid to him by pulling out all the stops with the dancers, the pyro, the theme song, the music, the new gear. It was truly amazing to see. And that's what's so interesting at this point in time, is that you get to see the Danhausen character in the full glory of WWE, which has the most expensive production and the HD cameras, and they put real money into developing. It's just amazing to see. So it's truly fascinating. And I think because the character is so unique, it opens up so many possibilities for what he can do. And so as we moved past Elimination Chamber, and then I was shocked by any negative reaction was quickly kind of 180'd once he appeared on Raw. And now I'm going to read some of the comments because he just appeared on Smackdown. Know what? I like him. Let's see. The disappearing thing is absolute gold. I love this. Danhausen deserves to enter the world title scene. Almost 300 thumbs up on that. Love that, Danhausen. Danhausen getting paired with a veteran like The Miz is fantastic. Mizhausen. Let's see. I love seeing Danhausen. He's awesome. He's already grown on me. I love this guy. I'm a Stanhausen for life. Facts. I feel the same way. Brilliant. He's now my favorite person in WWE. Danhausen is awesome. All capital letters. Exclamation point, exclamation point. It took less than a week and we all love the guy. There's something about Danhausen that it's just hard to define, but it's crazy, and I can't believe that he's in WWE, and I haven't paid attention to WWE literally since I was locked in for a long time. I think right around the time John Cena became the number one guy is when I really started falling off and stopped watching it. So that was a long time ago. That was like, I want to say like 2006, but before then, I was locked in. Like, I would watch every single show. And now that Danhausen is there, like, I've got to see how this is going to play out. So I am fully locked in, which is something I never thought I would say. So he appears on Raw with Dominic Mysterio. I'm so out of the loop. You know, I know Rey Mysterio, obviously. I didn't even know that there was, like, I guess this is his son who's now in the company. And then we just saw him with Mike the Miz, and I'm so old. When I look at Mike the Miz, I just think of the Real World or Road Rules. He was on the Challenge, but I think he was originally on Real World, if I'm correct, right? What season was he on? Vegas? I think he was on Vegas. Let's see if I can look that up. Real World with Trisha. Was he on that one? Oh, no. The Real World Back to New York? 2001? Okay. Mike Mizanin. Yeah, so I probably watched that when it was on TV. But yeah, I guess Mike the Miz is like pretty huge. So to see Danhausen with the Miz is like a pretty big endorsement. So it seems like, and then there was also, there's only a little bit of time left. What do I got? 2 minutes. I guess there was some sort of speculation like, there was speculation that there was top brass that was voting against Danhausen, but that's pure speculation. But what's interesting to me is a character like him that's so ridiculous to get endorsed by WWE, and someone like Triple H. I can't even imagine Triple H like watching the footage and like being like, yeah, we want this guy. Like, it's just so ridiculous. But they must, and like I said, they pulled out all the stops for his debut in a way that was like, amazing. So it's crazy to see the WWE treatment of Danhausen so far, as he's been given, the red carpet has been rolled out for him. So you would think that they're going to like fully utilize his character. And then someone else was reporting that he got a multi-million dollar deal to sign, which I wouldn't doubt it, but I guess we'll see how it all progresses and see exactly how far Danhausen can go. In my opinion, I think his character has the potential, and we've already seen it, that he's one of these guys that almost transcends like the conventions of being an average wrestler in a way. So he's like bigger than wrestling, strangely. And it's just crazy to watch. And yeah, I mean those are basically my thoughts on Danhausen and going all the way back to Ring of Honor. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed listening to this 15-minute segment, and perhaps I will speak more on Danhausen as the time goes forward, but we will have to see. And there goes my timer, and we are out of time for the 15 minutes. But yeah, like I said, hope you enjoyed watching. You can write in the comments down below, what do you think about this, and I'll catch you next time.